Hi everyone, Christine here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to all my new subscribers. And welcome to my Creative Times 165th Christmas in July sneaky peeks. And so our sale will start tomorrow on the 16th, Thursday, and ends on Friday the 17th at midnight. And don't forget to use any of our coupon codes for 15% off your entire order during the sale. And any other time during the year when it's not a sale, our coupon codes are 10% off. And my coupon code is Christine, but please feel free to share the love with any of my design team sisters. And thank you all so much for using my code. I really appreciate it. And so before I share with you my projects, let me share with you what we're sneak peeking today. Okay, first up we have our new paper pad, and this one is called Tis the Season 2026. Super pretty, and it's you get 24 sheets total, 4 each of 6 designs, and it's 6 inch by 8.5 size. And so let me do a quick flip through for you. So you have 4 each of these. Isn't that pretty? And here's the back. And this one is one of my favorite ones. I love the little envelopes, and she has it going upside down too, so that way if it's folded over, it'll look good either way. So you have 4 of those, and here's the back. It's like a neutral with little snowflakes. And this one is another one of my favorites. I love the little holly and leaves. Very pretty. And here's the back with a red and white polka dot. And here's another neutral flowers, and here's the back of that. And this one is like a vintage red and green, and here's the back of that with a gingham. And here's this pretty floral, and here's the back of this. It's a very these are little trees in a neutral tone. And so that's our paper. And next we have our Holiday Bear Hugs ephemera. This one is so super cute, and they include these tiny little bears, and they measure about, from the smallest, about 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 inches, and then you have little presents. And let me share with you what that looks like. And next we have our Holiday Greens, and let me share with you what that looks like. And next we have our new peppermint stickers, and you get a ton of them. Of course, I used a bunch of them already, and they range from 5mm to 11mm, or in inches, approximately 3/16 to 7/16. And this is a limited edition, so once they're sold out, they will not be reordered. And next we have a new stamp and die set, and this is called Cozy Holiday Hugs Stamp and Die, if you'd like to take a screenshot. And this comes with the coordinating dies, and let me share that with you. So it comes with 9 different sets of sentiment dies, and you get your straight horizontal ones, small, medium, large, and this curved banner, small, medium, large, and this rounded banner, small, medium, large. And each set comes with a stitched sentiment die, and then with the red you see here is a second layer, and the third layer is kind of hard to see on white, is a scalloped layer. And so you have several options. You know, if you just need or have just a tiny little space for your sentiment, then you just want to use the stitched layer here. But for added layers, you can do all 3 or just 2. And now, because the stamps are just straight horizontal ones, and you see how I curved these as well as these, and I know a lot of you have already know how to curve your stamps, but let me do a quick tutorial. Well, not a really tutorial, but just a quick demonstration of how to do that. Okay, I just have a clear stamp platform that I got off of Temu, but you can get this on Amazon. So I'm just going to take my clear stamp. I have Merry Christmas here, and I'm just going to add it to my stamp platform on the inside. And then I'm going to take my, my banner sentiment die here, and I'm going to hold it to the outside, and then because it's acrylic, you can move and curve it around and as best as you can. And if you have a MISTI, you can do it on the other side as well and just curve it along with your die. And so sorry for that glare. And so that's how I did it. It took me a couple tries, but that's just an added extra that Emma included with her die set. So you can either do a straight, this curved banner, or this rounded banner. And next we have our Poinsettia die plate, and this cuts out 8 different sizes of poinsettias, and it also includes these centers. You get this little flower here, and then there's a smaller version of that same flower, and you can definitely make little flowers out of these. And you have this star here as a center, and there's a smaller version of that star. And then you get these little dots here for centers. These tiny ones, I just use my gold stickles. And this baby one here is actually this little center star here, and it's about 3/16 of an inch. And so what I did was I just layered them twice in red, and then cut it out a third time in green, just using the same size. But you can definitely take one and cut out a larger one for your green if you wish. And you can also just layer them to get different looks and different layers. And so that's the poinsettia plate. I love, love, love this one. Okay, for my first project, I'm featuring the 3x3 chunky card holder die. And this measures 3¼ inches by 3¼ inch by 1 inch in height. And this is a fairly large die. It's like a pizza box. And you got your tabs here. Now, it measures 9.5 inches by 5¼ inches. And if you don't have an extended plate, like I do, I don't have an extended plate, just cut it as far as you can and keep your paper in the die, and then cut out the rest. And I'm sure a lot of you know how to do that. And so anyway, it comes with your scallop layers here, and your stitch layer here, the stitching, and this layer here. It also comes with stitch layers, which I did not use for the sides as well. And so I didn't add that, but you can definitely add your layers. It'll still close. And so, but I did add additional layers, like with this scallop, I added some foil here. Also, I just took the layer and added it to my foil piece, and I didn't even measure it. I just took it to my trimmer and just added my border. And then let me share with you the other dies that I use. I used the large treat bag die. I just used a square stitch layer. I used a 3x3 card holder die. I used this scallop piece here. I used the more cocoa mugs and stuff, and I used this stitched oval. And my Eyelet Doily die, I used this one here. And the A2 Fancy Frame and A2 Fancy Frame stitch layers. And so with this white scallop here, that's from the 3x3 card die. And then this red stitch layer is from the large treat bag die. And I have my Eyelet Doily die. And here's my Merry Christmas from the new Stampin' Die set. I popped that up on foam. And as I mentioned earlier, I curved the stamp on my platform to make it stamp that way. And then here's my super cute ephemera. Isn't that adorable? Now I did fussy cut a little bit, like especially on the bear, and maybe a little bit on the tree. And then look at this teeny tiny little poinsettia flower. I think that's the 1/4 inch size. And then these tiny little stars, these are 2 different size stars. That's also part of the poinsettia plate, as well as this tiny little gold dot. Added a little pom-pom here. I got this pom-pom from Joann's a long time ago. I think it's either 9 or 10 millimeter. And then I have 3 different, this tree is from the Holiday Evergreens, and then this bear with this present is from the Holiday Bear Hugs Ephemera. Added a little snow text and some glitter glue, and added some glossy accents for the decorations, and some pom-pom trim. So that's on that. And so the reason why Emma designed this is so we can add our chunky 3x3s. And she does have a 3x3 envelope to fit our 3x3s, but I could never fit any of my 3x3s in her envelopes because, as you can see, I use pom-pom trim. I pop everything up, so it will not fit. So thank you, Emma. And so for this first one, I use for all of them, I use my 3x3 card die to create my card. And then I use the same die to cut out just one part of it for my front. And then I use the scallop that comes with it. And this stitch layer is from the large treat bag die. And I have special delivery popped up. These little stars are from the poinsettia flowers, as well as this gold poinsettia flower plate die, as well as this gold star. And then here's those little peppermints. I love those. And here's my sweet ephemera. And again, this is from the Holiday Evergreens. Yeah, Holiday Evergreens, and these are from the Holiday Bear Hugs. And so I did fussy cut this one out, as well as this one, and another poinsettia flower that I created, the 1/4" one. Love, love, love. So that's that one. I don't have, oh, I do have something on the inside of Merry Christmas and some peppermints here. And so that's that one. And then these other 2 are almost the same. So I cut out in gold foil using that card die again, just this one piece. And then use the same white scallop that comes with the 3x3 card die. The red stitched layer is from the large treat bag die. And I added my Eyelet Doily die. And then here's my ephemera. And I did fussy cut just about everything. And you don't really need to. It does come with just a very thin margin of white, but I kind of prefer to fussy cut it if I can. And everything is popped up. I don't have anything on the inside of these yet, but I do have pom-pom trim. So I love that they fit into these. Now, if you have flat ones, you can definitely use the envelopes and it'll fit in there. You can probably fit maybe 4 or maybe even 5. I could probably fit another chunky one in here. It'll just pop up a little bit, but that fits. So that's my 3x3 chunky card holder die. Isn't that super cute? Okay, for my next project, I'm featuring the pocket and corner bookmark. And this measures 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And basically, it's once you put it together, it's a little bookmark for your journal page or album. And let me share with you the other products I used. I used these Snowflake Dies. I used this medium-sized one and this tiny little one here. I also used the Snowflake Doily Dies. I used the smallest one here. It comes with a shadow layer, but I can't find it at the moment. It's somewhere in my messy craft room. And so anyway, this is super easy to put together. And so it's actually, see, it's double-sided. When it's opened up, when you first die cut it, it comes with a fold line and a tab line, so you can fold it and glue it together. Super easy. It comes with this stitch layer, with this red you see here. And so for this first one here, I just added a little snowflake and some peppermint stickers from the new release. And I popped up this little guy. Isn't he adorable? Added some snow text here. I also used from the Cocoa Mugs and Stuff this tiny little oval. And then here's the back. And I have the smallest snowflake here. Oh, and I used the A2 Fancy Frame and A2 Fancy Frame layers, and another one of the ovals from the Cocoa Mugs and stuff, and more of those peppermint stickers. So that's that one. And then here's this one, and I'm using the Snowflake Doily die, and I did fussy cut my images again, added snow text, and this is from the more Cocoa Mugs and stuff. And so this would be the back side of your page when you turn the page. And I also use the Snowflake Doily and the snowflake in the back. And my tiny little sweet little bear. And he's got snow text on his hat, a little pom-pom. And snow text by his feet. And another oval from the more Cocoa Mugs and stuff. And this tiny little flower is the smallest poinsettia on that poinsettia plate die. Love, love, love it. So those are my projects. Okay, for my next project, I'm featuring the cute pinwheel die, and there's two different sizes. They measure 2 1/4 inches and 3 1/4 inch. You do need to cut this out twice to form your pinwheel, and you can either do it, have it this way, your pinwheel side, or make it like look like a flower. And it does come with centers. You get your heart, star, and a circle in both sizes. But I didn't use that. I wanted to use my poinsettia plate to create my centers. And I added them on both sides, so you can look at it either way. And the other products I use with this project, I use the Scalloped Treat Box die. And if you haven't seen this before, this measures 4 1/8 by 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. The box height is 3 inches, this piece here. And so I just set my pinwheel here, and I was inspired by, I think it was Melissa Carroll that created, when we came out with this box, she added a rosette at the top. I think it was her, or either Melissa from Mo Creations, one of the Melissas. And so anyway, so I just inserted it in here to look like a super cute centerpiece. And for my box, I just decorated each side almost the same. I use the scallop layer that comes with this box die on all sides. And here I have Merry Christmas. I triple layered that. I did add fun foam. And I think on most size I use the Eyelet Doily die, and I use the Cocoa Mugs and stuff, and also the A2 Fancy Frame and A2 Fancy Frame layers. On this one I added a little resin bow I got online, added some snow text at the bottom, popped up that image. I did fussy cut most of the images. And here's another one, and these are 3 different ephemeras, and I did add snow text. This tiny little poinsettia is the tiniest one. I think it's 1/4 inch. And here's the tree from the Holiday Greens. Is that what it's called? Holiday Greenery Ephemera. And then this little gold star is from the poinsettia plate. I added glossy accents here. And this is the Snowflake Doily in the back. And here's this one. She's got all kinds of presents here. So I tucked 2 of the larger presents in the back, and this is one whole ephemera piece. And she's got another poinsettia flower in her hair. And I just added pom-pom trim to the bottom, and I get that from Michael's. So that's my cute pinwheel die. And aren't they super cute? Okay, for my next project, I'm just featuring the new ephemera. And the other dies I used is the circle card front dies. And there's 2 sizes. You get a 3 inch and you get a 4 inch. And they do cut out these openings. And so I also used the circle postage dies. This measures 4 1/2 inches for the outer postage one. And the largest one, it measures 4 inches. And so I used the outer stitched layer and then the large postage stamp here. And then I also used the Snowflake Dies again. I used, I think I used the middle one. Oh no, I used the largest one. and then the smallest one here. Okay, and then I also used the Snowflake Doily dies, and this time I used a medium-sized one. I also used the mini bow die, and I used the smallest one, which measures 1.5 inches by 1.25 inches. And so here's my tag slash ornament. Isn't that super cute? I love how this turned out. And so at the top here, I just have some seam binding and some baker's twine here, a couple bells. I have a gajillion bells from like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and Dollar Tree. And I popped up this layer here, and then I have my Holly Jolly Christmas from the new Stampin' Die set. And these stars here, all these stars and this little star in the tree, that's all from the Poinsettia die plate. And then I have another Poinsettia flower here, and this is the smallest one. I think that's 1/4 inch. And in the background you see here, I have a snowflake, just to give it some added interest. And then another layer in the back here is where I used the Snowflake Doily die. And I just added that there and then just trimmed it with my scissors. And this is the mini bow die that I double layered and have a mini poinsettia here. And I added a little foam ball from the Dollar Tree. And then I have my ephemera that I fussy cut. And this is again from the holiday green ephemera. And this little guy in this present is from the holiday hugs. Holiday Bear Hugs ephemera. And I pop those up. Isn't that cute? And then on the back here, I did stamp to and from. You can turn this into a gift card holder by adding a pocket here. Emma also has the original gingerbread house with the die that'll cut out a gift card opening. And so that's that project. Isn't that super adorable? And last but not least, I created a card, and let me share with you the other products that I've used in addition to the new. I used the chunky arch layer dies. I used the second to the smallest scallop with the coordinating stitch layer. And then I used the next higher up stitch layer to go around my scallop. And then I also used a 3.75 by 4.75 add-ons. I used this stitch layer, this scallop layer, and this stitch layer here. And then I used a fancy slider die. I used this stitched layer here. I used this starry background embossing folder, and this is a limited edition. And then I also used the leaf plate die. I used these leaves and these leaves here. And here's my card. Isn't that adorable? And so I have this stitch layer, this scallop, and this next stitch layer down. That's all from the 3.75 by 4.75 add-ons. And then here's where I use that embossing folder. And this layer here is from the fancy slider die. And I have my Holly Jolly Christmas with all 3 layers. I popped the first one on foam. And then I have my chunky arch layers. I have the scalloped one and the coordinating stitched one. And then the bigger one to go around the scallop. That's also stitched. Then I have my ephemera that I fussy cut. I fussy cut the present and the little bear. Added a little snow text to the rim of his hat and underneath his feet. And this little star here is from the Poinsettia plate die, and I have 3 little peppermints from the new release. And then I have this Poinsettia flower and 2 smaller ones here and another smaller one there. And these little gold foam balls are all from the Dollar Tree. And then I have my leaf plate die here. I have the 2 different leaves on either side, and then I have a seam binding bow here and some lace here at the bottom. And I think that's it. I don't have anything on the inside yet, so that's my card. Isn't that super cute? So here are my sneaky peek projects for 165th Christmas in July release. And I do have one new project to share with you tomorrow. And so don't forget to come back tomorrow. Our sale starts at 8 a.m. and ends on Friday at midnight, the 16th and the 17th. And during the sale, don't forget to use any of our coupon codes for 15% off your entire order. And after the sale and any other time, you can still use our codes for 10% off. And my coupon code is Christine, but please feel free to share the love with any of my design team sisters. And I really appreciate each and every one of you for using my code. And so don't forget, tomorrow we're having a YouTube Hop, Instagram Hop, and School Hop giveaway for a chance to win a $50 gift card to My Creative Time. And so you'll have 3 chances to win if you're following us on all 3 platforms. And I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. And I thank you all so much for watching. Bye for now.